Standing in the wake of this train wreck, my heart is beating faster in my chest. This depression terrifies me. When I'm awake, it's like these thoughts, they paralyze me. I don't wanna feel like this. I don't wanna feel like this. Time stops, weightless and cold. Silence burns like fire while my fears unfold. There's panic. Tooth to my cheek, too hard to speak without you. Lungs drained of air, life feels unfair without you. Come back to me, don't leave me to dream about you, dream about you, dream about you. How can I breathe without you? How can I breathe without you? What is left to say when the sky falls? I'm staring at your ghost in the stars. There's not a day that I don't miss you. The feeling swelling overflow, it's like I see you, hear you. I don't wanna feel like this. Why do I still feel like this? Heart ripped out of my brain. I sit here talking to myself. I think I'm going insane. Tooth to my cheek, too hard to speak without you. Lungs drained of air, life feels unfair without you. Come back to me, don't leave me to dream about you, dream about you, dream about you. How can I breathe without you? How can I breathe without you? The only way to fix this, the only way to fix this pain inside, the only way to fix this is a deep breath in as you say
I kick ass for the Lord.
What about me?
I never loved him the way that I love you. Just drops the mic.
Sydney with his butt.
Can't see it from here.
What about the panty?
What about the panty? What's up, Butters? All right, all right, all right.
All right.
Hello and welcome everybody to 52/1993, the live movie conversation podcast, where we discuss movies from the year 1993. I'm your host, Cody, and I'm joined by my co-host this week, Steven, who is very much in character. He's got his tie-dye going. He's probably at the Moon Tower right now. You know, beer butt. He's
Just came from the Moon Tower.
He just came from the Moon Tower. My bad.
Got back from the party last night.
If this is your first time joining us, welcome in. We're so happy for you to join us today. But just to give you a little bit of a heads up, this is pretty much how it goes. Yeah. Basically, we watch movies from the year 1993. Important movies released this year by weekend releases. Doesn't matter if they're good, they're bad, or if they're somewhere in the middle. We just like to talk about them. And I usually have my guest host on to talk about them and see how they feel about it. That way you're not just getting my opinion, you're getting somebody else's opinion. So feel free to participate. Feel free to throw your thoughts and things in chat. We'll be reading along as this goes along. So please interact. That's the whole point of doing it live. So first, let's go ahead and introduce our movie this week. You probably already know what it is, maybe by the title of this stream, but also from our introduction and Steven's character choice now. So, but we're talking about the movie Dazed and Confused. Now, Steven, before I go into all the little facts about it, you've seen this movie before, right?
I have seen this many times before. I think I started seeing this movie in high school myself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been around in my life for quite some time.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a movie that has stuck around for a while. I believe I saw this movie because of my oldest sister's influences. She graduated high school in '96, so this was very much her thing in the early '90s, and then her going into college. Like,
bad influence.
What now?
So it sounds like your sister's bad influence.
She was a very bad influence. No, that is usually that's typically where I got a lot of my movie and music taste early on, was from her. Some of the grunge stuff that came out of the 90s, and movies like Dazed and Confused, which were a really big part of me growing up, and thinking, wow, this is high school. And then like rewatching it down the road and being like, wow, that was high school, or wow, that's really messed up, but that was high school. So definitely a part of my life as well, and saw at an earlier age, definitely before I should have seen it. But I think every high school, like, I don't know if every high school kid should see it, but I don't know how relevant it is to kids now, but I think it's good.
I think, maybe the kids that are going into high school in the next like 5 years or something could be the most relatable, because I feel like, the hippie 70s vibe is going to make its return.
Yeah.
We shall see.
We'll see. We'll definitely see.
TBA.
But we'll talk about a little bit of some of the maybe problems that some of the newer generation probably might see, and as we've grown up and seen things in our own lives, like, oh yeah, that's a little bit problematic now, but we'll talk about it. So let me introduce everything. Dazed and Confused is the name of the movie. It came out on September 10th, 1993. So we are just a week away from the 30th anniversary of this movie. It was directed by Richard Linklater and written by Richard Linklater. You probably know him best for his Before Sunrise trilogy. He also did School of Rock. That's one that probably a lot of people know. He's worked with he does a lot of these walk and talk kind of things, and Dazed and Confused is a little bit different than a walk and talk, but like his first movie was called Slacker, takes place in Austin. It's about a bunch of like 20 somethings, and seriously, it is just changes characters like every 5 minutes in that, and they're just walking the streets of Austin. And this is kind of like that. You don't ever spend too much time with one main character in this film. That's why I'll read off this cast list here. And I will miss people. I didn't write down everybody, but Jason London plays Randall Pink Floyd. Matthew McConaughey plays Wooderson. Ben Affleck is O'Banion. Wiley Wiggins is Mitch Kramer. Rory Cochrane as Slater. Joey Lauren Adams as Simone. Mila Jovovich as Michelle. Sean Andrews, Pickford. Adam Goldberg, Mike Newhouse, Anthony Rapp, Tony Olson. Sasha Jensen plays Don Dawson. Marissa Ribisi, Cynthia, Dina Martin, Siobhan. Michelle Burke is Jodie Kramer, Cole Hauser, Benny O'Donnell. I know Renee Zellweger's in this movie in a very, very tiny cameo.
Oh, wow.
This is her first movie that she ever did. So,
Parker Posey.
Parker Posey. Did I not even name Parker Posey? I didn't. And she's super
is
important.
Awesome in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Parker Posey as Darla. I talk about Darla a lot.
Darla crushes it. I mean,
she's got one.
If there's one person to hate in this movie, it's Darla.
There's a couple of them. Nikki Katt plays Clint. That's another person that is an easily hateable person. Let me give you the synopsis real quick. This coming of age film follows the mayhem of a group of rowdy teenagers in Austin, Texas, celebrating the last day of high school in 1976. The graduating class heads for a popular pool hall and joins an impromptu keg party. However, star football player Randall Pink Floyd has promised to focus on the championship game and abstain from partying. Meanwhile, the incoming freshmen try to avoid being hazed by the seniors, most notably the sadistic bully Fred O'Banion. That's a bad synopsis. None of that. There are three untrue things in there. One, they're not graduating. They are juniors that are becoming seniors.
Yes.
They joins an impromptu. Okay, that's right. Focus has promised to focus on the championship game and abstain from partying. He's doing the opposite of that.
Man, I agreed with the chat. That's a horrible synopsis.
That's a horrible synopsis.
Bad.
Google. That is a bad synopsis. Google needs to fix that immediately. This movie had a budget of $6.9 million. And it only received $8 million in the box office return. So, yeah, big kind of flop here. But I think this movie, and I didn't compile any of that information about how well it did on VHS sales and DVD sales, because I guarantee it got obviously it made its money back, but I think it's probably up there with Office Space for getting most of its money after being in theaters. Rotten Tomatoes gives this movie a 92%, and IMDb gave it a 7.6 out of 10. Couple reviews for you. The film is art crossed with anthropology. It tells the painful underside of American graffiti. That's Roger Ebert. He gave it 3 out of 4 stars. And then I did find a negative review. It says, this is light entertainment, nothing groundbreaking or even especially noteworthy. James Berardinelli, 2 out of 4 stars. Okay. And then before we go into our discussion, where we go through our categories and talk about the things that we like, there wasn't really much of a legacy with this, except for Matthew McConaughey and Ben Affleck just, being the two of the biggest, stars that came out of this film. A lot of these people you've seen in various things, as we've all seen over the last 30 years. But this is Matthew McConaughey's first movie. And after this, he kind of just blew up for a while. And all right is vernacular now. We say it all the time. And every impersonation we do of Matthew McConaughey, it all comes down to this movie. Also, Ben Affleck, this wasn't his first movie, but definitely kind of, propelled him into fame and certainly helped his status some. So we can always look back on that, even though he's playing a huge dick in this movie. Say oh, he did a really good job at being a huge dick in this movie. So, I just wanted to mention that those guys is more of a legacy.
That wasn't the path he ended up down. I think of even in Good Will Hunting, he's kind of, but everything else Ben Affleck does, he's kind of the nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of like, so this and then Mallrats, he's playing pretty much the exact same character.
Yeah.
And then the only thing I can think of that where he's kind of a little bit of a dick, even though he's the main, is Gone Girl.
Yeah.
And he's it's kind, I don't know. Other than that, yeah, he's kind of a nice guy, or he's the action hero, or he's Batman.
Daredevil.
Yeah, or Daredevil. He's this the good guy.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of smugness. Ben Affleck does, definitely, but
Yeah.
I
I've
think,
always said he played a really good Bruce Wayne. Like,
oh yeah,
he's a good smug ass Bruce Wayne.
yes, he is. I do like him as Bruce Wayne. He is a good Bruce Wayne. You're right on that. So, all right. So let's go ahead and talk about. Let's get into these scenes and really talk about it, because I know I've been itching to talk about this. I really enjoy this movie a lot, and I like
And
to
this
talk
is
about
one, like, before we get rolling, this is one, like, when I very first saw your list, like, early in January, I was like, I'm on Dazed and Confused, right?
it.
Like,
Yes.
I think this is one that you and I have been planning to do. And I would say through this year, because of knowing it was coming, I've probably watched it at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
It's very fresh. And I'm excited to talk about it too, just on about your rewatch and what you thought about it as well.
Yeah, so I typically watch this movie every year, or have watched this movie every year for the past, so kind of in the same vein of you. But during this, I've watched it twice. I think I watched it back-to-back days. I watched it once alone, and I watched it with Alyssa, so she could watch it, and I think she'd even said that she had seen it before. Maybe, I'm not even sure.
Well, and I think that anybody that has either dabbled in marijuana culture, that, like, even if you're around somebody who smokes a lot of weed, that, like, this and, like, Half Baked, Pineapple Express. There's a handful of movies that you watch on 420, and and Dazed and Confused is that movie. And so there are, truth be told, there's a lot of years when I first started watching this that I didn't make it all the way through it. Because of the nature of the holiday, and it being a little slower at times.
Yeah,
I didn't make it all the way through it. So.
This is the thinking man's 420 movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've been really excited to talk about it, because at a time, that's all it was. It was just watch it on 420 movie versus, like, watching it, more with a objective, just like, I wonder if this is a good movie. I'm not on 420. It was fun to kind of take the approach that way.
Yeah, so and comparing it to some of those other movies, like Half Baked, Pineapple Express, those are straight up comedies. Like, and Dazed and Confused is, like, there is so much smoking pot in this movie,
Nonstop, pretty much.
Nonstop. You're right. Like, I didn't even think about it until I think these last couple of rewatches, and I was like, but it was almost like, I don't know. Sometimes, with the culture and the legality of weed, and especially, like, during the 90s and through the 2000s and stuff like that, like, it was more taboo, I guess, and you had to be more, like, in this, it just seemed like everybody they did it in front of, like, they did it in their school.
Yeah,
like,
if weed wasn't being smoked, a cigarette was being.
Yes, something was being smoked.
So,
definitely,
like, there was smoke in the shop somewhere at all times.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was so crazy, but
yeah, the 70s, man.
The 70s, yeah, and from
70s, like, it had become very common, for sure.
Yeah, and from what I read, this is pretty true. Like, people just did not care that much about weed, and this is in Texas. Like, one of our more conservative states, and, like, at that time, nobody cared. Nobody cared if you were buying beer. Nobody cared. Like, So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. So
We'll get there.
first thing that we want to talk about here, the 4 to 5 scenes that really make the movie. I think we'll probably have some crossover here. We may have some different scenes, but I'll throw to you just in case we're ever on a delay or anything. I always want to start with you. So what did you have as your first scene?
Well, I'd say, like in the past, when we do top 4 to 5 favorite scenes, I'm always thinking like, what is my favorite that is like kind of like important to the timeline of the movie? And so I try to, this one, I would say more than any other movie I've done with you, some of my favorite scenes are so irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like they're just these short blips. So I do have my favorite scenes that kind of go along with the timeline and kind of push the narrative, push the plot. But then I've got a few other ones written down along the way that are like just short little blips. Or like,
yeah,
that's what I've always loved about this movie.
And this movie's unique too because there's really not a lot of like set pieces to it. There's not a lot of scenes like that. When I was doing this, I was struggling to be like, okay, this like I'm cutting this into this part here.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard.
Well,
like
I think something worth mentioning as we get into our favorite scenes is because the movie does such a great job of taking. I wish I would have counted the amount of main characters, you could say.
Oh yeah,
like 14 or 15, maybe upwards of 20 people, and doing this amazing dance of like weaving them. And so, especially if you identify with this group or that group, this scene is going to stick out more as that dance happens, as they all intertwine throughout the movie.
And there are some scenes where there is a character that is in a car and then he goes to another car and then he goes to another car. It's crazy how many times they switch just to go to different vehicles.
I'm just going to get out here, but when you come back, I'm going to get back in the car.
I'm only giving you I'm giving you shotgun just because I'm going inside.
Man, what gets yielded as when the party gets canceled? Like it was just people just doing whatever.
Yep. And I think it's super accurate. And even during like our time when we were teenagers, like something happens like that. There's a party that gets canceled. You just kind of got to figure it out. You got to figure out what you're doing on a daily basis when you're a high schooler with not a lot of responsibilities. So
So first scene for me is just them pulling up to school.
Yeah.
Sweet emotion.
Yes.
And they're like all hyped about the party. Like they're all hearing about the party at the guy's house.
Pickford.
Yeah, the guy's house, the Pickford's house. And everybody's like, yeah, I'm going to be there. Let's go, man. It's going to be awesome. That's the opening.
Yes. And you meet a lot of characters. I had the exact same thing as my first scene. Is like, this is where you meet a lot of the characters. You get introduced to, you get obviously Pickford, Michelle, Pink, obviously, who is kind of our main character. Like he is the most central narrative we're getting throughout the whole movie.
Between him and Mike Kramer.
Yeah, or Mitch. Yeah, Mitch Kramer. Yeah.
Mitch Kramer. Yeah. That's
right. Those are kind of the same. Yeah, they're the two main characters. We get Slater in here. We get Don in here. We get all the football guys in here. So you're getting introduced to a lot of people. But yes, the feeling when Sweet Emotion hits and they're pulling up in that car, whatever it might.
This movie, man. The music, it's perfection.
I agree. Every needle drop is so good. My favorite needle drop.
Very intended to be that way.
Yes, absolutely.
We can talk about that more later, but like the opener with the slow-mo riding into school on the last day of school. Beautiful.
So good. Yep.
So good. And you meet the guy, you meet the jocks and you meet the intellectual group and you get a little, like you're saying, you meet a little bit of everybody.
And you see this dynamic, and I was going to probably mention it later, but like you see a little bit of it here where these groups intertwine more than other high school movies have led you to believe. So like we're always used to like Mean Girls or Breakfast Club, like we've got your jocks, we've got your preppies, you've got your smart kids, your geeks, all that stuff. And none of those people ever talk to each other, and everybody hates each other. But I don't know if your high school was like this. My high school was definitely more like we've got all these different groups, and yeah, some they hang out separately,
Yeah.
but they're not so much as like enemies as we're led to believe.
To me, this is such a great depiction of high school in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, like it was not this way. Like each little clique had their parties when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Jocks had their parties, frat boys had their or like preppy kids had their parties. Then there were the people that got together to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
The party for them, you know, like I'm in for a good round of Dungeons and Dragons, but you know, like everybody was doing things separately. It seemed like back in the 70s, it was like you know, like everybody was included. Everybody was allowed.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. I don't know how many people were in your high school specifically, but I went to a small town high school, really small public rural place, and like everybody talks to everybody. And yeah, like yes, there were those dicks that were the jocks that made fun of certain people, and we definitely had our share of O'Banions, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody, you can pick out a guy in your mind that you went to high school or college with, and you're like, that motherfucker's O'Banion.
That's
Or a
O'Banion.
Darla, or a Clint. Like, I can think of so many Clints more than I can think of any O'Banions.
I can think of a lot of Dons. It was Don Dawson, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of Dons in my life.
Yeah.
Like the silly guy.
Yeah, the silly guy.
You know, like that guy.
That guy's erratic.
Yeah, a lot of those.
Yeah, so that's one thing. Like, you can see these archetypes, but you also know exactly. Like,
everybody, like when they watch this and you see that group and that person, it's like, oh, I remember that. Even if, whether you went 70s, 80s, or 90s, 2000s, I would imagine you could identify with like a group or a person within the movie.
And I'm not in schools anymore. I don't get to, like, I don't see any of this, and I don't know how schools interact, whether it's a small school, big school. I don't know if, you know, students still do this kind of thing, where they do get split up, or if people are a little bit more, you know, civil with each other, or not.
And it is pretty cool. I do go pretty far out currently to see one of my young men, and in a smaller school, it is a very diverse population in this community. And it is kind of like the chat saying, you know, like when it's a small school, it doesn't matter. Race becomes less of an issue. You know, like everybody is just together all the time. So like, I feel like it's a little bit of a family, and there becomes like this brother, sister, like older brother, little brother rivalry, which is what I think you get in this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the second thing that you have? I imagine our first couple are going to be the same.
I've got Sign the Paper.
Okay.
That's
we
what
can talk about. Mine's a little bit different.
Yeah, I've got Sign the Paper. You know, like Floyd is getting confronted by his teammates at first about, hey, there's this piece of paper that everybody's got to sign before next season that says what, like no crime, pretty much.
Yeah, no drugs, alcohol, or sex.
Yeah, you're not gonna have any fun.
Yeah, no fun.
No loud music either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Floyd is just, you know, from the get-go, this is, I feel like, the consistent through the movie. He's like, no way, Jose.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
But the thing that I've always struggled with this movie, and they tell him, and he gets told by so many different people through this, that they're like, just sign the paper. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And like one of my favorite things that he gets told, and this is at the end of the movie by his girlfriend, Simone, she's like, you guys rule this school. Like nothing will change for you if you do this. Like you act like you're so oppressed, but you're not. You can do whatever you want.
But they're the rebels, man.
But they're the rebels. Not anymore, I guarantee.
Yeah,
that
true.
school mascot got changed.
Yeah, but at the time, you know, like that, I think that was definitely intentional intentional by the filmmaker, because like the whole movie is about rebelling,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. And yeah, Floyd is that like kind of definition of like, I'm the cool quarterback.
Yeah.
All I got to do is sign this paper. It doesn't matter if I do, if I don't. It's probably a bigger deal if I don't. So I'm going to make a bigger deal out of it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's what the rebel's doing, is like, what's going to be a bigger deal if I conform or I don't conform?
Yeah. And even in the scene that we're talking about, where I think Dawn gives him the letter, whatever, and Dawn says to him, "You're going to make a big deal about this, aren't you?" He's
Yeah.
going to make a big deal about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
So, yeah.
What a funny ass coach moment where they like zoom in on the coach and he's like, Floyd, you better get your attitude changed this summer. Man, that's like almost laugh out loud funny.
Yeah.
That
But so accurate.
Yeah, it's so good. I love that.
Yeah. To quote Michael Scott, I'm going to make this way harder than it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
My next scene that I wrote down was the hazing scene, because I wanted to talk about this because I think that it is hard to comprehend somewhat for some people in these positions. Now, in the moment, I kind of like I said, I watched this at a very early age. And then like when my sister went to college, she got into a sorority. And so all this same stuff happened to her. And then when I went to college and joined a club or whatever, all this stuff happened to me. And
was there any hazing from like middle school to freshman in high school?
There were like little things. So like if you played sports, there was a little bit of hazing.
Yeah.
Like the freshmen got, I don't know, beat up by the seniors. But then once you got beat up by the seniors, you were cool.
Yeah. That's one thing about this movie that has just been so distant, like so foreign to me. There was none of that.
Yeah.
And I know that was a thing for sure, that like going from middle school to high school at a time. I think when I was becoming a freshman, there was this like, I should be scared of this because even the residual, like what used to happen.
Yeah.
Freshman. So I'm very thankful to have missed that era of, you're a freshman in high school, you get spanked by 9 dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not very at all.
So I never got this like part of my high school. Instead, I would get like bullied. But it wasn't when I was a freshman, because I had a senior class that was really cool with me, and they kind of took me under their wing. So I did have that part of it.
Well,
like
what about college? Like when you went into nights, were there any like, what was the gnarliest thing that happened to you in that?
The gnarliest thing that happened to me for nights. Well, they did like a physical. So there, I feel like that part where it's more with the girls. Like we didn't get paddled when I was getting into nights or anything, but where they just pour shit all over those girls and stuff like that. Like that kind of stuff happened to me, and to the guys and that I pledged with. Like that stuff happened. That was pretty normal.
Yeah.
I was telling Alyssa about like our hell night that we had, and we basically just went through shit and muddy and went into like ponds to go get stuff, and like some guys got spit on and peed on, and
this is why I didn't join.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. It's bizarre to even think about it. Especially going to like
back then.
Especially going to a religious private university. You're like, what the hell? Why is this stuff even happening?
That was always so strange to me. Like, because especially I say, with the girls, and we can get to that here soon, like some of the hazing that goes on with the females, like the public stuff where you have to walk up to strangers and like get them to sign this or say this to them. I was like, I always felt like that's not very Jesus-y.
No, but you just said like that happened at our school. Maybe they didn't say that they would give a, do you spit or swallow?
Yeah,
but I'm sure it did happen.
Yeah.
To be honest, I feel like when at Harding, I was in one of the nicer clubs at Harding. I know stuff that happened in other clubs where, people got beat or something like that. And,
Yeah.
but like, I remember a club walking in on this, couple queens or women from that men's club, were giving lap dances to pledges. And then if the pledges got an erection, they beat the shit out of them. That happened at a Christian university.
I hate everything.
Yeah, it's crazy to think
Yeah.
about.
That's why, I wanted to join. For the viewers that may not know, Cody and I went to the same school, and I wanted to join these clubs at a time, but just didn't have it in me to. I went to one of the pledgy type events one time, and they were just like hit each other in the nuts, and I was like, no. Ouchies.
Yeah.
No thing. Yeah, it is. I would say after seeing this so many times growing up, I would say 10, 15 times I've seen this movie. I didn't really it wasn't so cringy until these last couple times, to where it was like, I mean, this is weird. Like, and then you find out that like the actors themselves, like they got to personalize the paddles. Like they really designed them themselves, and it's like, what a weird thing to do, is like chase younger boys down and spank them with a paddle.
Yeah.
Weird.
It is weird. And like,
70s seem cool other than that.
And again, they acknowledge it in the movie. They talk about it in the movie. Like, maybe not so much the guys paddling it, but like the intellectuals, Tony, and I can't think of the other guy's name right now, but like they're sitting on the side as all these girls are Mike?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah, Mike. They're sitting on the side talking about this, and they're like, this is so degrading, like the public is cool with it. The parents are cool with it. Heck, they're even serving concessions.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
But
I've been the same way at school. I felt the
Yeah.
same way in college. Is like, I cannot believe this is like allowed here.
Yeah. I've been reading. So there's an oral history book, and I was telling Steven about it before we got on, that is just about this movie, called All Right, All Right, All Right. And early on in the book, they're all talking about these early scenes. And a lot of the cast people were like, this is not like my high school at all, my high school experience at all. And then they interview people from this, Richard Linklater, who lived this life. And then you see all of these characters that are these people that aren't that the real, like O'Banion, the real Wooderson, the real Pink. And they're saying, yes, this is 100% accurate. We did this shit to kids. Like, and it was just something that got passed on every year. And you know why they, the hazing thing, I get the purpose. Obviously it's dumb and should not happen. It's very traumatic and could be a very traumatic experience for a lot of people. I get the whole thing where they're like, oh, you're cool with them now. Pink says it in here. He's like, yeah, they waited for me after baseball practice and they busted my ass. And then they took me out for beers after. And they were like some of my best friends, like stuff like that. So I get it. And obviously it's awful.
I've got two, but I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead real quick. That's one of the what the F moments for me in this movie. It's like, nobody gets to beat the hell out of me, and then I want to hang out with them that night.
Yeah.
Like that has.
But what are you going to do?
Every time I've watched this movie, I've been like, if you did that to me, we ain't cool.
Yeah.
For years. Like maybe 3 years down the road, we can hang out. And I'm still going to be mad at you. And I'm probably going to be like, yo, you shouldn't have done that to me.
Yeah. I think my personality type is the exact, like, because I want anybody to like me as much as possible. I'd be like, please, just paddle the shit out of me so we can get this over with. And then can I hang out? Please, please, please. Like, I'd be so desperate for it. Like, there's a moment, and it kind of goes along with this, when Mitch is in the car with Pink. I think it's after Mitch got his butt paddled. And Pink tells him that whole story. And he said, O'Banion's a dick. And he goes, right? Like, he questions real quick. He's like, right? And then Pink's like, Yeah, he's a bit of a dick.
Yeah,
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
that takes us to the whole hazing thing takes us to my next favorite scene, which is
yeah.
what I call the mama shotgun scene. Like I would love my mother so much if I was about to get I know like it didn't end up working out for him.
Uh-huh.
Like in that moment, I'm like so scared. This dude's about to bust my ass with a paddle, and mama comes out the door with a shotgun.
Mhm.
And I'm like, God, I love you so much.
Carl's reaction is, Mom.
Yeah.
He's so
Like,
embarrassed.
he knows, he probably knows like this is just going to make things worse later down the road. But in that moment, it's like, yeah, shoot him.
Shoot him.
He's been chasing me for miles.
On a wild car chase, too. Like
Oh,
nobody's on these streets.
Wow.
Just zooming through all this, cutting through yards.
A few things between like my sign the paper and mama shotgun scene is that you get the cool, who I would say is like a hot teacher.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about more later. But you also get another scene that has always stood out to me forever, and that's him like making the bong in shop class.
Oh, yeah.
The teacher's just like out cold, and he's like, "Yeah, man, you're getting air in here. You're gonna have to put some gum on that." That's been in my brain for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like that one little short scene. But yeah, then we get Mama Shotgun, and that she saves Mitch and what's the other kid's name?
Carl.
She saves Mitch and Carl from the hazing.
Yeah.
But then we're straight to the baseball game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The baseball game where they're just waiting for him, and
When Mitch realizes I've got no friends.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey man, go over here so we can get away over here."
He's like, they're gonna get you anyway. So,
but we get the iconic scene, the "No more Mr. Nice Guy."
No more Mr. Nice
They're
Guy.
just taking turns. Like, I think the most cringy is like after Ben Affleck, O'Banion spanks him, and he's just like, "Yeah, I did it."
The worst with O'Banion there is once Pink comes up to like is talking with him, O'Banion like comes right back up and like gets over top of Mitch and is like, "Oh, I gotta get me some more licks on this guy." Like he's so hard for it, man. Like he just wants to bust that ass so
He does
much.
a great job of being a dick.
Yes, the biggest dick in the world.
Yeah. Carl's a biatch.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We get to see some of the paddles here. Soul pull from the.
Yeah, but pretty quick, like after that, we're into the girls hazing.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that has stood out in my head, like I'm kind of like you, the paddling shit, that's never been a part of my life. So it's not like, I guess the closest thing would be like church camp and just like the older boys there being mean, but like nothing like that. More like the girls hazing.
Yeah.
Like, get down on the ground. I'm gonna pour some mustard on you. That kind of stuff.
I had to bury my smile. I don't know how many times during Pledge Week because I was smiling the whole time, which is basically you dig a hole in the ground, put your face. I had to do that.
Girls hazing is gnarly, and that, man, to have that stuff that they were doing, I don't think I've seen the movie and thought like, man, they did that stuff at Harding.
Yeah.
Like they made those girls walk up to us and be like, would you marry me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Weird.
Just embarrassing. Yeah.
Yeah, really embarrassing, shameful stuff. And it's like, man, I'm glad I didn't take a part in it. Like, I think I did at times.
Yeah, we all did. Like, it was just something that happened. Like,
yeah, we get Tony, even the like intellectual kind of being a creep with it too.
Yeah.
Like everybody's taking advantage of that situation. So
yeah, he plays along and then he's like, screw this. Let's, who are you as a person?
Yeah.
And then, she gets taken away. But no, that we get introduced to Darla, who's insane. Is O'Banion on another level?
Yeah. Darley's got some of my favorite quotes. I wrote
Same.
I wrote at least one down we'll get to later. I'll save it. I
Yeah.
think it may happen in this scene, but we'll get to that here.
I hope it's the same line because I've got one that's my favorite line in the whole movie.
And really quickly after that, too, just worth mentioning that then the beer delivery guy just fucks everything.
Yeah.
Just absolutely, like, this could have been a way more chill movie if the beer guy doesn't fuck everything up.
I like it because then it becomes not, again, we're talking real life, like a picture out of real life. Because that party gets split up, then we have to see what these kids are going to do now that all their plans have changed. And a majority of it is just driving around in cars, which leads to one of
I've
my
always
next
wanted
scenes.
to know, where were they going that Frank, the dad, was like so easily like, cancel, unpack the
Yeah.
bags. We ain't going no more. Like, do you do that? Do you cancel vacation like that? No, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you cancel
I don't
going
know.
to-
Those Southern dads, man.
Yeah, dude. That has always struck me as like, man, intense. Like, wow, he was not fucking around.
No.
Yeah.
And how, okay, if you have a dad that strict that it's just like, were you planning on having a party here? And doesn't know that your kid is smoking so much weed in that huge bedroom, by the way.
Huge.
And they're like waving the incense around. And I was like, there's no way you don't smell the weed.
Oh,
No
yeah.
way. I don't care how much incense you burn.
They're burning down right before you leave.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's no way. And, like, he's ordering kegs and you don't know he drinks.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Come on.
Yeah, but a good dad still, like a good dad that's like you said, good Southern dad, good
Yeah.
Texas dad that's like, unpack the bags, baby, we staying home.
Yeah. But he doesn't get punished. Like, okay, no party, right? My kid's not having a party here. And we stay home. He still gets to go out that night.
Yeah, somehow he's out.
He's out and about. Like he's not grounded. He's hanging out with his girlfriend.
Yeah, he escaped.
He escapes, I guess. Yeah, you're right. The next scene that I have, it kind of comes from, them having to drive around and do stuff. Is the trash can bowling ball scene.
Yeah, so they picked Mitch back up
Mm-hmm.
because after they, Floyd was the one that was good to him. He winds up like he's gonna hit him and barely pass him, and then he's like, "Man, come hang out with us." And they pick him up, and yeah, that's when they get smashing mailboxes.
Which happened.
Yeah,
That happened in my day. I don't think anybody in my class really ever did that, but every class, like all the kind of classes ahead of me in high school, were mailbox smashers.
I know of some people that were doing that in college for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, for sure. That was a thing. The bowling ball, though, like you mentioned, I ain't never seen no shit like that.
No, that was so good.
Get it, Mitch.
Get
But
it.
This is where we gotta mention, like, I know Mitch may have been around his sister. Like, it seems like this is his first go at it.
Mm-hmm.
And this man is having beers, smoking weed for the first time, and just holding his shit together so well.
Yeah.
To be a freshman in high school. I mean, like, this man, let me just go ahead and talk about it now, because he keeps going and he's fine. He's
Yeah.
good. He just keeps pounding beers, keeps smoking weed, and he's good.
Yeah.
He's good. Never is he like, hold up, guys.
Yeah.
So
It just, does some remarkable things as a 14, maybe 15-year-old at this time. Just remarkable things. Buys a sixer at one point.
yeah.
Nope. Just smooth.
This is when we first get Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, we get introduced
When
to
we first meet Wooderson.
Wooderson.
One of my scenes.
Did you know a Wooderson in school or outside of school? Because they wouldn't have been in school. I know one, and
No.
in my life.
No, Wooderson. I mean, you mean like with the actual name or a dude like Wooderson?
Dude like
Oh,
Wooderson.
yeah.
Because like I had an experience, and this was after high school, like right after high school, I was starting to party more, where I was going to these parties where it was like the 30-year-olds were talking to me and my friends. It's seriously 30-year-olds were partying, supplying the beer, supplying everything. Like I knew those people.
There was definitely, his name was Clayton. I
Yeah.
will not say his last name. Just in case, like he might come and find me and hurt me because he was just that kind of. He was crazier than Wooderson, but he definitely was like the weed guy. Got in trouble for drinking at school.
Mm-hmm.
A little older and hung around for a while. You know, like Clayton. Yeah.
Yeah, mine was a weed guy too. That was the first time I'd ever smoked. Was with this guy. So, no, I get it. I had a Wooderson.
Yeah.
And
so
somehow, like, Matthew McConaughey is a good-looking man. Let's all agree here. In this movie, I've like maybe it's because it's HD quality now and everything. Like his mustache is terrible. It's like not a good like thick mustache at all. It's very blonde and like doesn't look like that. Kind of relates more to the guy. Like, but the guy I'm talking about got ladies somehow.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Same. Yeah. He definitely, for real, I saw him have the cigarettes in his sleeve a couple times.
Nice.
Right? He was that guy who would be in school with a pack of cigarettes in his sleeve.
Wow, that's some greaser stuff, man.
Dude, he was a badass. But all the teachers kind of loved him, and he could like sweet talk him. He had charisma. And you know, I know we'll probably breeze by it, but this is where we get one of my favorite quotes, and like this is what gets quoted in my life the most after about this movie is like him being like, "Hey man, you got a joint?"
Yes.
And like, "Not on me, man," and be like, "Be a lot cooler if you did."
Be a lot cooler if you did. Yes.
Yeah, that's where we get the iconic line when they pick Mitch back up to get out. And everybody's kind of figuring out, like, what do we do now? You know?
So, yeah, this is the part of the movie where I do not feel like there is a set structured scenes. There are a couple in here, you know, but it's a lot of like, a lot of that, a lot of driving around. You've got people at the Emporium. You've got people at the drive-in restaurant. You've got people just chasing down freshmen still.
Yep. You got the kids still. For some reason, the kids are still out and about.
Yep, they're going to their last junior high party.
Yep.
Because there's a girl there with knockers this big.
Kids are still out. They get, they catch another one of their friends, paddle the shit out of him. So now they've gotten like 2 out of the 4, so they're pissed.
I love that scene though where he gets paddled. Again, that's another O'Banion beating the shit out of some kid. Beating the shit out. Like you see it in there. They're giving it to him. But Don pops the trunk of the car and it is just so much beer on ice.
I've dreamt about that kind of situation since the first time I ever saw this movie, that I would be somewhere and somebody would just pop their trunk and it would be full of beer.
Yes, that's incredible. Not even thinking about that these people are drinking and driving.
Just
the entire time.
PBR. I just want to be full of glass bottled PBR.
That's a dream of mine too.
Oh, cheers!
I love it.
PBR, yeah.
Cheers to PBR, absolutely. But yeah, that scene that I was talking about with the bowling ball and all that stuff leads to the scene where Don, again, I don't know how Don gets involved in like. Don is in like 17 different cars in this movie. Like he hitches rides more than anybody.
Jumping around.
Oh, he jumps around a lot. He's in the bowling ball. He's in the beer scene that we just talked about. But the bowling ball scene, they like pull up to a gas station and he's acting like he's gonna, rob this store. And Mitch is gonna be the lookout. And they act that way, and Don gets back in the car after stealing the beer, and then this redneck dude chases them down, and they're like, I didn't steal anything. What's the problem? because they got his mailbox earlier in the night.
He's
So
got a pistol on him.
yeah, he pulls a gun on him. And these kids who are idiots, just like we would have been, are like, go, drive.
Pull off. But yeah.
And they're just laughing as this guy is shooting bullets at them.
He's shooting at us.
Yeah. This is madness. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But I love that scene so much.
Yeah, around the same time that it's happening, the kids are like, yo, we've had enough of this O'Banion fuck. Let's get him back. Let's get a little revenge. And that's my like number 4, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's my number 4 scene is revenge on O'Banion.
It's a good scene.
But, you know, like they dump some paint. He's about to get Carl. They dump him some white paint on him, and he just has a little freak out.
Loses his shit.
Yeah, it's a quite the meltdown, which is, you know, that's one of those things that you enjoy always seeing in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's being a dick. Somebody got revenge.
Yeah,
like that's always a nice thing to see. And yeah, he just hops in his car covered in paint.
I hear it in the background. I think Pink says it as he's driving off. He's like, looks like O'Banion got his paint job finally, because his car that he's driving is like on primer right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I caught that this time around. It was great. He drops a hard F in this too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Freshman. He says freshman F word. And I was like, whoa, that's a hard one.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Affleck does an incredible job of being that dude.
Okay, I read this. I don't know if you read this in your research, but during that scene, supposedly he shatters his ankle.
Oh, really?
And then finishes the scene. Like he hurts himself in this scene.
Oh, I didn't.
And like finishes it out. I don't know if it's true. I got that off IMDb. I didn't write it down, but I saw that. I haven't got there in my book yet, so I'm not even sure if it's true or not.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, just slipping and sliding, or rolls it, or does something to it in this. But man, he destroys that paddle.
And then right after that, man, we get the scene. All right. We get it. He pulls up to the pool hall, man. Like, I don't know. Do we ever get a name of this place?
That's the Emporium. The pool hall is the Emporium.
Okay. Yeah. So, like, I guess party gets canceled. So everybody's like, fuck it. Let's hang out at the Emporium. Like, let's pull up and then leave with a different car full of people and then pull up. And that's, I think, mainly about smoking weed. But, yeah, that's the place. Everybody's playing pool, hanging out.
Was there anything like that for you in high school? Was there a place that y'all would hang out?
It's mainly parking lots.
Parking lots, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. So when my sisters, who are both older, 6 and 9 years older than me, they had a pool hall. Like that was a thing that they did. They went to a pool hall, and cruising, that was a big thing for a while. Just picking a block in the town and just riding around that block over.
We definitely did that as smokers, man. Sheets, like gas stations. We would go to gas stations for sure. Like the Walmart parking lot was definitely a cool place to hang out at a time. The bowling alley. At another time in my life, the skating rink. Sometimes it was when you first got to drive that it was like, I'll go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, that's those days in high school of like, somebody's got a car. Let's go
somewhere. Yeah.
Even if it's the gas station, and hang out in the parking lot because they got food.
Yeah, that is one thing that I never had when I was in high school. I never had like a specific spot where people hung out. There were places where people would fight, like we had designated fight spots.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, like we didn't really have a hangout spot. We did drive around a lot though. So
yeah, we did do a lot of driving around.
Yes, absolutely. What else did we? What do I got here? My next 2 scenes are big scenes. And and I'm sure yours are in here too. Like, and maybe you picked out a specific spot. But my next two is Party at the Moon Tower, and then I put Blazing at the 50-yard line. Those are the two scenes.
I got Moon Tower and football field.
Yep, same thing. So, and a lot happens in both those places. Like,
there's so much of this.
yes, a lot of that.
Man.
Climbing the moon tower. What
Well,
do
let me tell you why, man. One of my favorite things about the all right is, Matthew McConaughey, especially Wooderson this time around more than ever with my current awareness of how the world works, my worldview, is kind of a creep more than ever. I thought he was the cool guy for most of my life, but now upon these last couple watchings, he's like, they keep getting young, that I keep getting older and they keep getting young, like that. He's kind of got a creep vibe to this one.
Yeah.
As we get into this. And so for most of my life, I kind of thought, like he's had the cheerleaders, he's had the popular girls. This man's like now getting to his like his niche.
Isn't that a funny thing though? Like when we were younger, like let's say in our high school time or when we were in our early 20s, we thought Matthew McConaughey's character was the cool guy.
Oh yeah, the creepy guy was the cool guy.
Yeah, he was like, how cool is that? I get older, these girls stay the same age. What an awesome line. Like,
yeah.
And then you think about it and you're like, no, like now that we're in our 30s,
and the
like
Me Too movement happens. And you're like, oops.
no, guys, no, that's not cool.
So cool.
Not so cool. I want them to age with me, not them to stay the same age.
Awareness, right?
Yeah, yeah, Jesus. But I definitely knew those guys.
Yeah,
those guys exist.
Yeah, they were around for sure. And like definitely most of my life, I thought that was the cool guy, but not so cool this time. No. I mean, depending, I feel like Cynthia was a senior, right? She's going from junior.
Yeah, she might be 18.
Yeah, so like maybe we're now to like where he's getting a little bit more legal with things because it seems like he's had his fair pickings of things for a while. So now he's into the what does he say? I love them redheads. I
love me some redheads.
Oh yeah. He's hitting on the intellectual girl. He like wants the challenge.
Yeah. And I don't think and this is not to excuse any of his behavior. I don't think he is like 30, which is probably the age of the people that I was talking about. I think he's like 3 years removed. Like
21.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's 21.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100% agree.
Yeah. I'm not excusing any of his behavior.
And then a lot happens at the Moon Tower. A lot. We've got one of our biggest things is we've got Mike getting embarrassed by the guy and Clint, then going back and pouring the beer on him and hitting him and getting in the scuffle. That's a big, he's not the intellectual guy's like, I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
I like his reasoning though.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got to do something. I don't want to be remembered for, being the coward kind of thing. And he's like, at these high school parties, they usually get split up pretty quick, So if I get one good punch in, which is true, like usually they do get, pulled apart pretty quickly.
Good plan too, like pour the beer and when he turns around, yeah. And then like if he whoops your ass after that, you try it.
Whatever. Who remembers though? I poured my beer on him and I got that guy and that's what's going to get remembered.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. What else? We've got Mitch making his moves on Julie, the sophomore.
Yeah.
Jody and Pink hook up in the woods. Thus Pink cheating on Simone, which seems like a weird relationship anyway that he has with Simone. So we got that going on. Pink also getting like cornered by Benny the
Yeah, about the
bigger redhead.
paperwork again.
Yeah, I'm signing that paper. Just do it. Like it's not about you. It's about the team.
Man, for a second, I was like, "Are you guys gonna kiss?"
Yeah, that was a weird, the weird like them in the truck
I
together.
don't think I ever felt that before, but this time around, I was like, "Man, is Benny trying to get more than the paperwork done?" You know?
Benny just cares about football, man. That's all that guy cares
he
about.
is.
I know a guy like that too. You
He
know,
he was right there for a second when they were talking about O'Banion in the movie. I was thinking maybe they were talking about Benny because Benny's kind of like he's right up there with
Yeah.
O'Banion as being like, why is your dick so hard about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is O'Banion Jr. if he doesn't graduate next year.
Oh, 100%.
So,
And then the sun comes up, man.
Sun comes up. We've got our heroes like
partying all night.
Partying all night. Mitch is making out with his girl.
Yeah.
We've got the 6 people or 7 people that are on the 50 or 6 people that are on the 50-yard line. It's Pink and Simone and Dawn and Siobhan and Slater and Wooderson. And
the sun comes up and they're like, man, let's go smoke some weed on the 50-yard line. And I wish that was one of the things like when I was in high school I wanted to do, but I just didn't have the sack for. Like I just, that was one of the things like I had gone my whole career with like smoking a lot of weed and not getting caught at school, not really getting in trouble with the parents too much. And so, the thought of going out in the morning, in the middle of the night and being on school property and smoking weed was like, that's some dumb shit. Nah,
that's one where you need the star of the football team to be on your side.
Yeah,
like
if the quarterback's coming, sure, but otherwise, nah. That's something like fantasy where like the trunk full of beer is like smoking a joint on the 50-yard line of my high school football field. Maybe one of these days I'll go back and do it.
I think that should be your goal now is to smoke on the 50-yard line.
I got to figure out who the quarterback is so I can take him out.
This 17-year-old kid. Hey man, I really need you.
Hey man, you want to smoke some weed?
This is bad.
Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, but the football field, we get a lot of cool quotes and stuff around that time from Matthew McConaughey and even Don at the time. Like there's a lot of Floyd is still being like, I don't really want to sign the paperwork, man. It's just not me. It's not who I am, man.
He's still being
everybody's trying to convince him with inspirational quotes.
Yeah, they're giving him all the good stuff. And again, I talked about it earlier where Simone is like, you guys rule this school, just sign the paper and stop crying. Like, it doesn't mean anything, but it's the principle. And that's what he says. He says it's the principle.
I've heard that my whole life, and boy, is it true. It's the principle. Yeah, that was and then I do have one last one, which is Slow Ride at the end.
Yes, it's a great outro. I mean, it's the same as kind of like the intro. We get
intro and outro, just
Slow Ride as they go on their journey to get Aerosmith
putting
tickets.
His headphones on. His mom's like, "Man, are you drunk?" And he's like, "Slow ride." Yeah,
I think that Mitch, like, while I think that Wiley Wiggins, the guy that plays Mitch, is not the greatest actor in this movie, I actually find his drunk acting a little convincing. Like, that's pretty good. Like, he thinks he's being really, really cool in that moment when he's like.
I always wondered what happened to Sabrina.
Sabrina, she just gets taken home. She gets to make out with Tony. They go out to.
She makes out with Tony, but like she's been out all night.
Oh yeah, what does her mom say
when she walks through the front door? Is mom there like you? Like that way they didn't show.
I'm not gonna paint that picture for her. I hope her mom's probably not.
I always wondered what happened. Like
that's a good point.
get
We
in
don't
trouble.
get the equivalent on the women's side of
But
things.
could there be a better song for the end of the
No,
movie?
such a good song.
Them riding around, like riding as the sun is still coming up, smoking
Yeah.
another joint, just
Such a
great.
good ending, great song, a lot of good needle drops in this movie. And I know we've missed several things. Like I haven't even talked about some of the things just because there's so much that you could cover and
We'll hit it on our back.
breakdown. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll hit it.
Okay, so who is your scene stealer or your favorite character? Because I had two.
Man, I think it just goes without saying because that it rightfully blew up Matthew McConaughey's career because he's amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like just gonna set that to the side for a second.
Yep.
Man, I freaking love that teacher. I love her. I wish like she kind of reminds me of Miss Brown or Miss Simon from my high school because they were like the cute teachers that were like
lines
that would keep it real. But yet, hey, that's one of my favorite quotes from Jenny Stroud, Miss Jenny Stroud.
Miss Stroud.
Yeah, I got it written down here because I had those teachers that were like kind of like cute teachers that were keeping it real, like as you left for the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her and always I have identified with Slater. Slater's my dude. So if I'm setting Matthew McConaughey just because it's a given to the side, then yeah, Slater's my dude.
Slater is definitely one of my favorite characters in this. He gets some of the best lines, the funniest lines in this movie. And I feel like every stoner, let's take Cheech and Chong out of this. For every stoner that you see in a movie beyond this point is Slater, based off of Slater. Like, it's just so incredible that he puts on that performance. Man. I love it. Slater's got a different handshake with everybody.
Yeah.
And they're usually all weed related.
Usually starts with, and then something.
I like the one where he holsters his gun.
Yeah.
That one's great.
Yeah,
Slater's up there.
Is the guy.
I don't know why I love this guy so much. And when I watched it with Alyssa, she did not like him, but I love Don.
Yeah.
Don is so funny to me.
Yeah. I love the way that Don hits on the teacher.
Yes.
The summer,
and she pats him on the head. No, Don does have the cringy spit or swallow thing when he's talking to the freshman. But he's so funny in the rest of this movie.
He is. He's that guy. I knew a lot of Dons for sure.
Yeah, a lot of Dons out there.
A lot of Dons in my life.
All right, now let's get to our quote section. Some quotes that we really liked from this.
Yeah.
So go ahead. I'll give you some of them.
I got to start with my teacher.
Go for it. I love this. I know what line you're talking about.
One more thing. This summer, when you're being inundated with all this American bicentennial 4th of July brouhaha, don't forget what you're celebrating. And that's the fact that a bunch of slave-owning aristocratic white males didn't want to pay their taxes.
It's
Closing
good.
line before sending out the students for the summer. Welcome to the 70s, motherfuckers. Yeah. I love that part.
Love her for that.
Yeah, love her for that. Great way to send the students out for the summer for sure. What's your first one?
So I didn't have them in order by any means, so I'm just kind of looking through some of the stuff here. I'm going to go ahead and start my Darla quote, which is my favorite quote, and it happens during the hazing scene. She's calling these girls bitches, she's calling them sluts, she's calling them everything. And as they're walking away from doing some of this stuff, she says, "What are you looking at? Wipe that face off your head, bitch." And I think it's the funniest
face off your head, bitch. Yep.
I think it's the funniest
I've
line.
got it written down.
Watch that face off your head, bitch.
Yep.
It's such a good line. I love that line so much.
Got that one written down. I got Mike, one of the the intellectual, not Tony, not Cynthia, but Mike, the other guy who ends up fighting. He says it's what everybody in this car needs is some good old worthwhile visceral experience.
Mhm.
I love that line.
Mike gets another one when he's talking about not going through that, he doesn't want to go to the law school anymore because he hates all the people that he wants to defend as a lawyer. And Tony says, so you're not going to go to law school? What do you want to do then? And Mike just says, I want to dance. And it just cuts from there. It's such a funny line.
I love that
I
part.
want to dance.
I want to dance.
Oh my gosh.
I got you cool man, because for 20 years of my life being like, hey, you cool man has meant, I feel like I didn't know it, but I think it's meant because of Dazed and Confused. It's meant, hey, like, are you cool with us smoking weed, or
Yeah.
do you want to smoke weed with us? Hey, you cool man? That's like, I think Dazed and Confused gets a lot of credit for that.
Yeah. I also love Slater's reaction to whatever Mitch says back to him. And he just goes, okay. Like, just answer my question, man. It's like, okay.
And then the other ones I have are just the football field.
Okay. I've got a couple from the football field.
I got Wooderson. Man, it's the same bullshit what they tried to pull in my day. And one thing, I don't know if you heard about, before I read this quote, it kind of comes with a fun fact.
Uh-huh.
The living quote.
Yeah.
You
It's
know
all
that?
him.
Because his dad died.
Oh, yeah. His dad, they had to like stop production.
Yeah. And he came back and improv'd this.
Yeah.
Man, that added an extra layer to it. Man, it's the same bullshit they tried to pull in my day. If it ain't that piece of paper, there's some other choice they're going to try and make for you. You got to do that Randall Pink Floyd. You got to do what Randall Pink Floyd wants to do, man. Let me think of this. The older you do, the older you get, the more rules they're going to try to get you to follow. You just got to keep living, man. Livin.
Livin.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I love that one.
I've got Pink saying, all I'm saying is that if I ever start referring to these as the best years of my life, remind me to kill myself.
Of course you do. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's having like the best days of his life for sure. And it's like, don't ever tell me these were the best days of my life, even though like that seemed like a pretty cool day, man.
That was a pretty good day. Do you have Don's quote from this?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead with that. I don't have it
I
written
feel like,
down.
man, when I hear this one, I feel like the Wonder Years have used this in their music.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, well, all I'm saying is that I want to look back and say that I did the best I could while I was stuck in this place. Had as much fun as I could while I was stuck in this place. Played as hard as I could while I was stuck in this place. And dogged as many girls as I could while I was stuck in this place.
I love the dogged is the verb there.
Dogged.
Dogged as many girls as I could.
Dogged them.
He dogged them, bro. Let's see here. What else? What is another one that I have? I've got Clint. I like this line. I only came here to do two things: kick some ass and drink some beer. Looks like we're almost out of beer.
Yep.
It's like such a shithead thing to say, but it's kind of awesome too.
I've always liked when they're like playing fake football on the football field. Floyd's like, marijuana on one, reefer on two.
Hi.
I've done that my whole life.
Yeah. what is this one? Cynthia, I think this is a funny line, the redhead. I call it the every other decade theory. The 50s were boring, the 60s rocked, the 70s, my God, they obviously suck. So maybe the 80s will be like radical. I figure we'll be in our 20s and hey, it can't get any worse. Jesus.
I mean, the 80s were pretty cool, man. The music was
No,
great.
that's when we get Reagan. That's when stuff shits the bed, bro.
Yeah, the music is fucking great, though.
Oh, we get some great music in the 80s.
I mean, when it comes to the music, which like I like the 80s, I like 80s music better than classic rock. So that's something we'll talk about. We can
well, 90s is classic rock now. So
yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. Oh, and I've only got a part of Slater's stuff about George Washington in here, but he said, "Did you ever look at the dollar bill, man? There's some spooky shit going on there, and it's green too." Oh, and I've got one more Slater line. This is probably number 2 on my list of favorite lines in this movie. It's Slater at the top of the moon tower, and he says, "Imagine how many people are out there fucking right now, man, just going at it."
I also had forgotten about him messing with Mitch as he's climbing up.
Oh yeah, how many beers have you had?
Like, man,
4.
they not let people up here because the freshmen fell and they hit their head on every bar on the way down. They only had 1 beer. How many did you have? Oh
4.
man, you're gonna die.
It's such a good.
I love it so much.
It's so good. Yeah, when he goes off about Martha Washington and talking about George growing reefer or all that stuff.
He grew it all over the United States.
And when he came home, Martha had that shit waiting for him. She'd have a big fat pole
waiting for him.
Behind every good man, there's a woman, and that
There's a
woman was Marsha Washington. She was a hip lady, man.
Man, I love it.
Slater's so perfect.
Yeah, perfect casting.
Definitely perfect casting there. Okay, so you have any other quotes? I think I've went through all of mine.
Man, I will always love. It's worth repeating. Hey man, you got a joint? Nah, man, not on me. Be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah. All right.
Man, I think that one even comes. That one has been repeated in my life. Like, I feel like even Method Man and Red Man, when they're like doing what is the movie?
How High?
How High? Yeah. They kind of like play on that a little bit.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah. Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused. All right. Biggest laugh, cry, scare, or thrill. I don't think there are any cries, scares, or thrills in this movie. But maybe you.
What you got?
I put Slater's George Washington speech and the imagine how many people are fucking out there. Those are the lines that are like that whole thing is when I'm laughing the hardest.
Man, on this most recent watch, the thing that got me, like made me kind of like laugh out loud a little bit is the first group of people that go to
Pickford's house.
Yeah. And the dude's like lighting a joint and they're like, yeah. And the dad over and they fucking bolt. And that like literally made me like laugh for real this last time around because I was like, I think that has happened to me.
You've been
like we like showed up with booze and we're like, yeah, wrong house. Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your most ridiculous moment?
Well, there was what did I say a second ago that I spoiled it? I don't know. Mitch being able to handle so much is kind of a what the fuck moment.
Yeah.
Also,
crazy.
I felt like when they're on the football field and the cops are 50 yards away, and most of them are football players.
Yeah.
It's like, goodbye.
Well, okay, I didn't notice this until this time around, but the girls are behind them and they look like they're ready to bolt. I never noticed this before, but they're like Simone especially is like, I'm gonna run the other
Why not
direction.
Take off, fellas.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's see who gets away. That's a good way to end this movie. Meet us back at the car.
Slater's getting caught easy, bro.
Easy.
He was passed out.
Poor Slater.
Poor Slater, man.
Yeah.
I put Mitch buying the beer, even though, like, from whatever, and you know, I've read a couple things, like, completely plausible. They didn't really check. They didn't care. It was more of like, you're 18, right? Here's the beer. Of course, at this time, you could be 18 and buy alcohol. So, yeah, I always thought that was ridiculous because, like, I mean, it's impressive that he does, and it doesn't seem like this clerk cares at all. And he's just sitting there reciting the lines that he had heard Wooderson say earlier about working for the city, might go back to school.
That
all
was
that
super
stuff.
cool, man.
It was very cool.
I like that scene a lot more this time around, the way that he had picked up on all that. The other thing I had was, in my life, nobody's spanking me like that, and then I'm hanging out.
Yeah.
That's what I said earlier, is that was my WTF moment.
That's right,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not getting picked up by you motherfuckers later. Just like my ass is bruised because you're not picking me up later, so we can hang out, because that dude is still looking for me.
But I'm telling you, man, I still see why he did it, because it's like, I get the chance to hang out with these people. Maybe I don't get my ass beat the rest of the summer by anybody else, because I've got these guys now.
4 years, maybe I've got some protection.
Oh yeah, now I've got these guys. You know, that's one thing that Pink says to Mitch is like, O'Banion's not a bad guy when he's blocking for you.
Yeah,
when he's on your side. When he's on your side, it's
That's
not a bad place to be.
Supervisor at work, man. She's great when she's on your side, but when you're on the shit list, boy.
Yeah, you don't want to be there.
You get that spanking.
Okay. Best music moment. I'm interested to hear yours.
I mean, I think we've already touched on it, but I just feel like opening and closing are perfection.
Yeah.
Like everything in the middle is cool. Like I love knowing Mr. Nice Guy while they're beating the shit out of Mitch. But like opening with Sweet Emotion and closing with Slow Ride. Ooh,
yeah,
man, like some of the and we can talk about it more. Like they paid for it. They paid for to have them songs opening and closing, and I think they put that money in the right spot for the opening and closing.
My favorite is actually probably right in the middle. It is when Wooderson walks into the Emporium, and it's like this slow motion walk in, and you hear Bob Dylan singing Hurricane. Here comes the story about the hurricane. It's just such a good moment, man. Like that little segment there is so perfect to me. I love that more than any. But you're right. Like
your fun facts at all?
What the Hurricane?
The money. I mean, what they music?
Yeah, I have that in my phone. That's
okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that soon, man.
So yeah. Okay. So this is the one I never prepare anybody for. But
I'm ready.
I've got most date. Who's the most dateable to you? And you're probably gonna. Is yours the teacher?
Cynthia.
Who's? Oh, okay. Okay, Cynthia. Interesting.
She's so cool, man. She's down to party. She's redhead. I mean, I like redhead. I mean, go look at my wife. I love me a redhead. She's cool, man. She got her own car.
She has her own car. That's pretty cool.
She's young and got her own car. I'm down to ride with Cynthia.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm a Jody fan myself.
Oh, that's the only other name I have written down.
Jody was super cool and super cool the entire time, even though she's the one that got Mitch, like sent him on his little journey. But dude,
that's the older sister that I'm trying to bang. Yo, Mitch, I don't care who Mitch is. we could be buddies. Like I don't know if I'm Carl. If I'm Carl,
God, I don't want to be Carl.
Yeah, dude, if I'm Carl, I'm definitely trying to bang Jody. Jody's super hot and she's cool.
She is
And,
cool.
I mean, Cynthia too, man. Like Cynthia wanted to party the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like I think Matthew McConaughey totally destroyed that. Like if that you play that out after the movie, he's got her number, he's taking her out, he's smashing, bro. He's crushing that.
Yeah. Jody had the best outfit. She had the denim on denim at the end of the movie.
Dude, she was flexing.
They were looking, yeah.
I mean, but especially even I was looking at the like cast on IMDb recently. I mean, Cynthia's still beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know what her name is.
She's married to Beck in real life.
Dude, she is smoking.
Yeah, that's Giovanni Ribisi's twin sister, Marissa Ribisi.
Okay.
And she's married to Beck in real life. So
Man, smoking. Still today, like the recent photos of, I mean, like 30 years later. And when was it? What are we talking? 93?
93. Yeah. She's probably 50.
Man, still beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. This one's good, though. I did do a fuck, marry, kill.
Yes. Let's go. Give it to me.
And it's mixed genders in here. O'Banion, Clint, and Darla.
Remind me who Clint is.
Clint is the one that beats up Mike.
He's out.
Yeah, I'm a toker, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's out. He's too aggressive. He's definitely gonna do. There's gonna be no love making with him.
No. So far, we're right on how I felt.
Man, I don't want it to be a gender thing, but I think I could. I think Darla's got a soft side more than any of the three. Yeah, she can make some love. And I'm a love maker. You know, I'm not like that. Like, I feel like with O'Banion and who was the other?
Clint.
The other, yeah, both of them, like, that's fucking, man. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
A Gone Girl style.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck.
Mm-hmm.
From behind in the mirror so he can look at himself, and that's it. That's all you ever get.
Yeah.
But Darla, I feel like I could do some work on her.
I feel like Darla, I could marry Darla because I feel like Darla might have, like, she might have something to go toward, like work towards. I think Ben Affleck is going to be in that town for the rest of his life, never doing anything, like no ambitions. He probably is going to fail high school or fail senior year again. Like, he's definitely the fuck for me.
I'm fucking Clint, killing O'Banion and marrying Darla.
I'm killing Clint.
You think O'Banion would be a better fuck than Clint would be a better fuck?
Oh yeah. Clint's too. I need a meaty man. I feel like Ben Affleck is going to be a more meat. That Clint guy, he's too small for me, man.
It's a small guy, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Mike could have really taken. He could have given him.
Oh, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think Clint's just fucking
Mike
crazy.
Really went for it because he was like, "This motherfucker's not that big."
Not at all.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's good. I was like, these are the three villains of the movie. I'm gonna put them up against each other and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think I'm killing Clint. I think a fuck from O'Banion and then definitely marrying Darla because I could straighten her out. You know, you can love her into not treating other females like trash.
Yeah. All right. Who gave the best performance in your eyes?
It's Wooderson, baby.
It's got to be McConaughey, right?
It's like if we do this again, if we try to set it to the side, I do, man. You kind of mentioned it earlier. I really like Don as like kind of the spitter swallow comment is not appreciated,
not great,
but like I really like his performance. He's really good at being that guy from my life.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Don a lot.
Yeah. I had the three that we probably talk about the most. It's
What are some-
McConaughey, Rory Cochrane as Slater, and Sasha Jensen as Don. Like
Yeah.
those are the people that I think gave it.
Slater
And
is
then maybe Michelle Burke, who is Jody. Like
Yeah.
I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. We talked about this. I don't know if you have anybody, 1993. I think you said you had a 1993 recast, 2023 recast. I think we were discussing earlier before we got on. It's really difficult. We don't know a lot of like these people are in their early 20s in this movie. A lot of these people were unknowns at the time. Like we're just going to put the entire cast of Stranger Things in this and like anything else. I don't know. Bridgerton,
Here's
like
one
throw
thing
like,
I will say for the 1993 recast, and it's only because for a good chunk of maybe the first 10 years in my brain, Mitch was Joseph Gordon-Levitt from 30, not 30 Rock. What is it?
Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, like the hair.
Yeah.
So Joseph Gordon-Levitt there for sure. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt could have done Mitch Kramer.
Yeah, I think so. I think
I looked it up. I think he was right around that age too.
Yeah.
At 1993.
He was probably.
So that's my only recast for 1993.
That's a good one. I like that. Yeah, we
Was
could
JBL.
definitely have gotten. I want somebody that can throw a baseball too. It doesn't look like Mitch could do any of that.
Yeah, that windup was.
That was atrocious.
Yeah,
atrocious.
You could tell he don't play ball.
He's
He's not a pitcher.
No. And then like I said, 2023, what do you do with that? Like some of these people that are in their 20s look a little too old, and I don't know. It's really hard to cast
A
nowadays.
few that I have, like other than the kids from Stranger Things, like I do have. I did think that David Mazouz, who is the guy that plays Bruce Wayne on Gotham.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Could be a decent Floyd. I think he's the age, like right now, where he's actually a high school kid, and I think he could be. I think he could do he did a good Bruce Wayne. I think he could be like the quarterback guy.
Yeah,
that smokes too much weed. But I also think, man, I think there's a good argument for a lot of those Stranger Thing kids would like fit into some of these roles very well too. Like I could see, what is it, Gatton?
Yeah, Gaten Matarazzo. Yeah,
like man, if he just fully committed being a really good Slater.
Yeah, yep, he could definitely do that.
And then you've got a good like Finn. Finn fits in there as maybe like
he might be a good Pink too. He could be a good Pink.
He'd be a pretty good Pink as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and there was a, like I don't want this to sound bad at all. But like Caleb from Stranger Things too, there is the one
black guy.
The one black guy, so it definitely came to mind. Stranger Things. It was like,
that was the first thing that came to my mind too. I was like, just put that cast in there.
Reduce Dazed and Confused with the cast of Stranger Things, and like throw Ellie Fanning in, for Parker Posey's part, because she's maybe a little. I think she's maybe 21ish now, but I think she could do 18.
Yeah,
Ellie Fanning, and then Chloe Moretz as well as around that age, whereas I could see her being like air raid bitches.
Yeah, Sadie Sink is the redhead from Sarah. She could be in there. Somebody said a great Jody. Yeah. So I just don't know enough about that age of actor. Every actor I know is probably or in their late 20s. And those are the ones that we see in everything now. You see the Timothy Chalamets, the Tom Hollands, all those people. They're too old to be in a high school movie like this. Yeah. So. But they're coming out. I saw a good movie last night that had some good high school actors in it, or at that age that could play that. And I'll talk about that soon. But all right, fun facts. I only wrote that. There's so many like facts about this movie,
Man,
but
so many fun facts about Dazed and Confused. You
Yeah.
could go on, like, we could have talked about it this whole time.
we could go 3 hours. Like it would be a long one.
It would be so long.
So we'll start out with the one that we've kind of been hinting at. 1/6 of this budget, the $6 million budget, was used just on the acquiring rights to the music. So
Yeah, Aerosmith ain't cheap.
Aerosmith ain't cheap. You're right. Is that the most expensive one?
I don't know if it was. No, because it wasn't. It wasn't because they couldn't get Led Zeppelin.
Oh yeah, because one of them agreed and the other one didn't. I think I think Jimmy Page agreed and Robert Plant said no. It might be the vice versa. I don't remember.
Man, yeah, 1/6 of the, what was it,
$6 million. So
Yeah.
$1 million is spent just on acquiring rights for this music.
I mean,
For
and you can
songs
hear
that
it.
aren't barely in this movie, like Slow Ride's in it a lot, like a extended amount. We get Sweet Emotion. I feel like we get the whole, but Hurricane, we barely get Hurricane. You
But,
barely
man,
get that.
good money spent.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it really, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
And one thing I want to say about the music is he specifically so he was so detailed in this. No music was featured in this movie that had not come out after May of 1976. So everything was very like on purpose pre 1976. Yeah. So that's pretty.
First fun fact I've got is they just turned down a bunch of people, other people that ended up being famous. Like you said, you mentioned Renee earlier.
Yeah.
She's an extra. Renee Zellweger.
Oscar-winning actress Renee Zellweger.
She walks by.
She walks by.
And then you got a list of people that auditioned.
Vince Vaughn, he auditioned.
Man, that's another good, like, a recast that would have been cool. I would have loved to see Vince Vaughn as O'Banion.
Yeah, and that's why he didn't get cast.
Yeah.
It was because they already cast Ben Affleck, and they're like, we already got a Ben Affleck, and you look just like Ben Affleck.
Both of you guys are going to be a really good dick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Elizabeth Berkley, Claire Danes, Ashley Judd, Brendan Fraser, John Favreau.
Wow.
Yeah, just
that's a lot of people that didn't make it in this.
There's a lot. I want to know who John Favreau would have been at the time.
It probably would have been O'Banion too, because he's kind of that guy. Because like Vince Vaughn and him are going to make Swingers in a couple years, and they're both they're very Ben Affleck-ish.
Who's Brendan Fraser?
Pink.
Yeah,
has to be Pink, right?
At that time, especially.
Yeah.
With the hair, yeah.
You white, you Ben Affleck. You're right. Yeah. So, in that cast, like the people that didn't make it probably had better careers than some of the people. Like, none of these people went. Like Rory Cochrane had somewhat of a career and like went on to do like a bunch of more television than anybody. But like the girl that played Jodie, never heard from her again. Sasha Jensen barely had a career after this, and he was amazing. Jason London didn't even have that big of a career. He shows up and stuff, but he didn't have quite a movie career by any means. We never see Wiley Wiggins again. We never see the girl who played Sabrina again. Anthony Rapp was a stage actor. Adam Goldberg shows up in things all the time, but you don't see any of these people anymore.
Man, I because I'm such a music lover, I read that the Linklater made mixtapes
for each character.
That was another super fun fact.
That's cool.
I was like, man, how cool to like help you put yourself in that mindset.
Yeah. I've got a couple. Sean Andrews, the guy that plays gosh, I can't even think of his name now. The guy that was going to hold the party.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Sean Andrews
got written out.
got written out because him and Jason London hated each other, got in fights with each other, and that's why we get so much of Wooderson. Wooderson wasn't even in the script.
Oh man, the story.
And we get Wooderson, and we get this amazing character. We get amazing Matthew McConaughey, and so we get all that. Man, is said 203 times in this movie.
Oh,
Genius.
So obvious. So obvious. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Man.
Slater does he contributes a lot to that.
Yeah. They drink real beer in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Love that.
Apparently some of them admitted to being very stoned during some of the scenes. That was not always fake marijuana, apparently.
When Mitch was cast, he lied about knowing how to play baseball and how to pitch specifically. And
Obviously.
So they had to get a double to show him from the back during that pitching scene. But the windup, you can tell from the windup, it's bad. It's bad.
Man, is it Don Phillips?
Don Dawson.
No, Don Phillips, the casting director.
Oh, okay.
Man, he's the one that bumped into Matthew McConaughey and apparently had that night of drinking. You probably knew this. I did not. Was also the casting director of Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
I mean, and crushed it in early career with Sean Penn.
Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, Forrest Whitaker, Nicolas Cage. Like, talk about somebody who was good at being like, you're going to be great.
Yeah, you're going to be famous someday.
Yeah, I can
Come
make
with
you
me.
famous, be in this movie.
Yeah.
Don, go ahead, Don Phillips, for finding Matthew McConaughey and making him a star.
I didn't list any other ones just because, I felt like I'd picked out some of the better ones. I don't know if there's any that really stuck out to you that you
Last
have.
one I've got is that Linklater got sued.
Oh, yes. I love it. I just looked at this before we got on. Linklater got sued by
former classmates.
He got sued by O'Banion. He got sued by three. What was it?
Slater was one of them.
Slater, O'Banion, and God, I can't think of who the other one is. Was it Wooderson?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's so weird that Slater and Wooderson looked awesome in this movie.
Yeah.
If O'Banion's the one that looks like a piece of shit.
Wooderson, I mean, like now.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that lawsuit got thrown out.
That shit got tossed so fast.
So fast.
Yeah.
As I'm assuming that you really, really like this movie, what's one thing about this movie that you're going to say that's negative?
Man, upon this watch of it is the hazing shit and the high school seniors getting off on spanking young boys was just like, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
It was like, this is not the part of the movie I like more than ever. I think it just slid by most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that's life for somebody somewhere else. Right. But now it's like, it's lame as shit that would ever happen to anybody.
Yeah. Even back then, it sucks.
Yeah. It's like that. Like you would have to run from school, try not to get spanked with paddles by 18-year-old boys.
Yeah.
That's
rough.
Super lame, man. That's some Pinocchio shit.
That's a good comparison. I like that. Pinocchio.
Yeah. Oh, come to my island so I can turn you into a donkey. Yeah.
My biggest complaint is Wiley Wiggins, the guy that plays Mitch. While I think he has some really, really good moments in there, I was like, I think they could have done a little bit stronger casting.
I love his hey, are you drunk?
He just, yeah. That
his
was good.
Mom wouldn't be like, yo, I asked you if you were drunk.
Yeah, my mom would not have let me go to sleep.
Mom.
No, Mom. Come on. All right, like a fine wine and a cheese. If you could pair this with another movie for a double feature, what movie would you pair it with?
Man, I'm thinking, I think we mentioned already, Breakfast Club was a good match.
That's a good one, yeah.
I'm thinking Say Anything.
Mm-hmm. A Hughes movie.
I'm thinking Animal House.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Hazing stuff.
Yeah, man. I think. I mean, then if it's 420, throw Half Baked or Pineapple Express on.
Right. I like those.
They
Those are
smoke
some good
weed
ones
throughout the whole movie.
I picked. I had 4 written down. Almost Famous, just because of all the music.
Okay.
Incredible music, and like a young kid being like made cool by all these older people
I like it.
influenced. Yeah. Empire Records, which I was playing in the background on a
Yeah,
VHS.
man.
Yeah.
Good one.
Rory
Good one.
Slater is in that movie, is a main character in that movie. American Graffiti. This is George Lucas came out with American Graffiti in the 70s, which was just basically this movie, but told from the lens of like kids in the 50s, high schoolers in the 50s. So basically the same thing there. And then the last thing I had was Richard Linklater's kind of spiritual sequel to this. If you haven't seen this movie, it is a really, really good, enjoyable movie. It takes place in college, and it's mostly about this baseball team in college. It's called Everybody Wants Some. And it's kind of a sequel to this movie, a spiritual sequel. It's not direct, but it's pretty good. So rewatchability rating. If you could rate this on a scale of 1 to 5 for rewatchability, what would you rate it?
It's kind of like you hit the nail on the head. This is like a yearly watch for me. This is I could easily watch every year, so I gotta put it at a solid 4.
Yeah,
on rewatchability as like a. I don't think I'll ever get sick of watching it.
Same.
But it's not Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah, it's not your. Yeah,
I got to be careful about watching this because it is so good that it hurts me a little bit.
Yeah. I give it a 5 on mine just because I watch it so much, and like I watched it back to back almost the other day, and I was
you
like,
could probably easily shove me into a 5.
Yeah,
because I love it. It just does not.
I get it.
Fall into.
It's not one of your go-tos.
Profound enough.
Yeah.
It's a holiday movie.
Yeah, it's a holiday movie for you.
Yeah.
Overall star rating, what'd you give it out of 5?
Overall star rating, we're still at a 4.
Nice.
Still at a 4. Like really, really good, not great.
Yeah.
Because just the hazing at this point in my life, I don't think I'll ever going forward like the hazing shit. You know, it's just really uncomfortable. Like O'Banion and Benny do a great job of just making it unbearable. Like where they're like, yeah, let's get him. Oh my God. You know, it's just like, yo, chill out. I think everybody's just trying to smoke weed and hang out. You guys are just trying to.
You guys are intense, man.
Yeah, why are you guys trying to spank everybody? That's
dude.
Not,
they just want to spank people. Okay, they just want to spank people.
Lame, man. The guy over here's making a bong in shop class, and you're making a paddle, you lame ass. Yeah, come on, man.
Just make a bong, bro.
Just be a bong guy.
Just be a bong. I gave this
be a bong guy.
Be a bong guy. I gave this movie a 5. I love this movie so much, and I think probably just because of nostalgia and like being shown it at such an early age and it being such a prominent thing in my life from the very beginning. I think I just can't.
Dude, the way they do the dance is not to be underrated. Like the way I don't know if I'm using the right terminology at all, but like the editing of like making it all flow together so well, I think is something that I don't know, maybe you know more about like who's in charge of like when it's all filmed, make it into a movie now.
Yeah.
Like whoever did that did a fucking great job.
It was great. It was great.
Because it perfectly flows. You get attached to characters. You have, great job.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's everything for us. Steven, it's been amazing. I knew this would be a really, 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 really good one. I hope you finished everything that you set out to finish, although I don't think did you do it?
I did it.
Awesome. Well, has there been anything, I always like to end on a recommendation. Has there been anything that you've watched recently that you want to shout out?
I'm even going to add 2 here. I will forever, for all you listeners out there, if you don't watch cooking shows, you are fucking up. And recently we've watched all of the on Netflix that is available. We have watched all the Great British Baking Show that is available to watch. We have ventured in to the Great British Baking Professionals. Great. it's really great watch. Man, they're really great at what they do. It's a beautiful thing. There's so many movies right now on my list that I mean, I just recently finally watched Asteroid City. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. It was definitely. I kind of watched it in burst, and at first I was like, I'm not gonna like this one, and then I finally finished it on.
Yeah.
I liked it. Um, yeah, I haven't watched. I mean, I need to see Barbie. I need to see Oppenheimer. I need to see a lot. Joseph tried to go get me to see Old Boy, but I saw the snip of the octopus crawling around in that guy's nose, and I was like, no, thank you.
That's a tough one. That's a tough
Yeah.
one to watch.
But yeah, what about you? What have you seen?
I saw last night the movie Bottoms, which just came out. It's kind of a high school movie. It is a queer fight club movie. It is bonkers it's like parody-esque. Like the best thing I could think of is like wet hot humor to it.
Oh,
Like there's
okay.
some absurdity in there.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah, it's wild, but it was a good time. So that really, other than this is really the only movies that I've seen lately. So I've been off my movie watching game, but I think it's going to pick up here soon. So
Same.
but that's all I've got. So we've almost done the 2 hours, and I really appreciate you sticking around for all those 2 hours with
Of
me.
course, man, I enjoyed the shit out of it. I've been looking
Yes.
forward to this for a long time. We
Yeah.
did it.
We did it, man.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Like, I think, is this one of your first fives? What else have you given fives to?
I probably gave a 5 to Groundhog Day and Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so
like, I'm
it's up there,
honored,
bro.
honored to be a part of the chat on one of your favorite movies.
Yeah.
One of the best of the year. I love marijuana, and I love the celebration of such a thing, and the rebellious nature that Dazed and Confused brings to things. So thanks for letting me chat with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And come back next week. We're going to be talking about another great classic movie, Cool Runnings. So we'll be here next Sunday. Cool Runnings. You can stream it. It's on Disney Plus, so most of us already have that. But Steven, love you. Thank you so much for everything. You're the best.
Love
And this
you,
was a
man.
great movie. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks.